Welcome to EduRev.
Hello friends, welcome to EduRev. This is Binu Krishna and I have considerable expertise in teaching the subject of art and culture for UPSC CSE aspirants. And we are continuing the module of Indus Valley Civilization. Today in this lecture, we'll be discussing some of the interesting topics like their economic life. What about the other important sites and locations? So that's something that is very crucial to get to know more about the sites and the locations of IVC. And after finishing that, we are almost nearing to the end of the lecture. We'll be dealing with the topic of what about the legacy and continuity of IVC in present day world. Do we still see the symptoms, the realms left behind by the IVC people in today's world? Are we still experiencing a continuity of culture in today's world? So that's the three important things. And towards the very end of the lecture, we will also be having some of the important practice questions. So let us quickly go through the lecture for the day. So first thing is, what are the important economic activities? So you have the three subdivisions: primary activity, secondary activity, and tertiary activity. With primary activity mainly focused upon agriculture, animal husbandry. What sort of crops are grown in agriculture? We have already seen in the previous modules. So let us quickly go through it. Wheat and barley, that's one of the major staple food crops. Cotton was the main crop for fabric. And apart from this, this cotton was also called as Sindon by Greeks, as it is mainly grown in this Sindh region. After that, animal husbandry, domestication of many animals have been known, especially take a note of elephant. That domestication of elephant is also very clearly mentioned. Use of horse was not fully established. Remember, this point is very crucial. Use of horse was not firmly established. Harappan culture was not horse-centered, but remains of horse was found at Surkotada in Gujarat. So I'll repeat the point again. It was not a horse-centric culture, but the remains of the horse was found at Surkotada, which means that though there was presence, there was some feeble evidence of this particular thing, it was not a horse-centric culture. Hunting and fishing are other regular operations or occupations. Secondary activity. What do you mean by secondary activity? Some manufacturing has been going on. That is what you call it to be the secondary activity. Specialized artisans, they indulge upon the activities of being goldsmith, brick makers, stone cutters, weavers, boat builders, terracotta manufacturing, and whatever has been given in the list, take a look at it. And certain bead manufacturing, seal manufacturing, they manufacture bronze sculptures. So these come under the secondary activity because all of it comes under manufacturing or production of a certain good or a commodity. And when you talk about the transportation system, that has also been in existence, and you come to know of it because of the various seals that you find during that point of time. Like, for example, you find seals and terracotta models which reveal the usage of bullock carts, which reveal the usage of ship, which means that even the construction or manufacturing of bullock carts of ships have been going on at that point of time. Coming to tertiary activity, this has got to do with your trade and commerce. So foreign trade was mainly conducted with Mesopotamia, Iran, and Afghanistan. And especially evidence has been found with regard to the Sumerian people trade and commerce. There is much evidence to prove the links of between Indus and the Sumerian people. Not just that, the raw materials that has been used in the production of goods which is produced in IVC sites, the raw material have been sourced from many areas, and there are some evidences to prove that this particular metal has been sourced from this particular region. Like, for example, chemical analysis shows that Omani copper and certain Harappan articrafts, they seem to have traces of nickel. So there is a common metal of nickel. So when you actually chemically analyze them, there is a similarity. Just remember that. And moving forwards, this is all about the trade activity, which is the uh, tertiary activity. Then we read about secondary, we read about primary activity also. Now let us move on to something else, which is what about the other civilizations that was existing during that point of time? So in all of the world civilizations, there was one common feature, which is all of them originated near the river sources. So for example, you have the Egyptian civilization that originated on River Nile, Mesopotamian on River Tigris, Euphrates. You have Chinese on River Yangtze. So similarly, we have this IVC on Indus River and its branches. Now, Mesopotamian text, it talks of three intermediate trading stations. Take a look at the map that we have here. The first thing is Dilmun, which probably refers to Bahrain on Persian Gulf. Then we have Makan or Makan, which probably refers to the Makran coast in Oman. And finally, Meluha. Now, this Meluha is what we refer to as the Indus region, and this might have probably referred to the Indus region in the Mesopotamian text. Now, a quick comparison of IVC and Mesopotamian civilization. Now, IVC probably seemed to have been having a tendency of matriarchal society, whereas this Mesopotamian civilization owns a lineage of patriarchal culture, because there seems to be men being far more powerful than women. And the second point is that there was no special places of worship. That is important. There was no special places of worship, as in people did not involve themselves in the construction of a temples. Temples was not exquisitely built in your Indus Valley civilization. Whereas in the case of Mesopotamians, they were known for temple worship. Not just that, polytheism, it was present in both the cultures. Polytheism was present amongst the Mesopotamians, and from evidences such as seals, statues, it indicates that Indus Valley might also be having a polytheistic religion. And then theory of kingship or a ruler class has not been properly proved for Indus Valley. We always say that it might have been a theocracy, it might have been an oligarchy. It might have been ruled by a set of people who might be aristocrats, who might be the priestly class, who might be from the religious set, who might be kings. So there is not a definitive trend as to who has ruled this particular place. But there is a centralizing authority. Who's that authority? We do not know for sure. And when you take about this Mesopotamian civilization, it was definitely ruled by a priest king who was considered to be divine. That king, he solved disputes. He had his own administration to handle. He also led an army. So that is how there is a clear-cut difference. And now, what about the legacy and continuity of IVC? Now, this is something that I consider very, very important, because when you learn a topic, you need to know what is the relevance of that topic in the present day world. Because UPSC always tries to link the subject to the present dynamic affairs. So, when you're reading something in history, if it has got the continuity in the present day world, then that means that points are very, very crucial. Remember this particular information, that continuity of IVC has got some very important significance when you're talking of UPSC CSE examination. So yes, some points are given here. We are dividing it into three parts. The first thing is, what is its relevance in social sphere? What is its relevance in economic sphere? What is its relevance in religious sphere? First of all, in social sphere. Matriarchy is still present in societies of Kerala and Meghalaya. Some tribes of the Meghalayan community in the northeast, they do follow the practice of matriarchy. So we say that IVC is a matriarchal society. Similarly, there are some emerging trends, or you can say there are some trends which are being practiced in some states which resemble the legacy and continuity of IVC. This is how you should interpret. Look at the second point, Town planning. That is something that is a very exquisite and a unique character of IVC. Now, it is said that this same town planning is evident in the present day world in the form of municipal systems. Construction of houses with bricks, with standardized bricks, with underground drainage system, that has also been part of the present day world, which we have borrowed from IVC, or the trend of it, which we have been seeing the trend of it since the ages of Indus Valley civilization. And Vastu Shastra has also got its importance, has become the basis. Vastu Shastra has got its base from IVC house construction. Consumption of food products, either you're vegetarian or non-vegetarian, is still being followed today. Now, these are some of the traits which shows the similarity. Understand that crucial link. It shows that there is a link or that there is a similarity between the IVC and the present day world, that there is a fine thread which is connecting IVC and the present day world. Hobbies like dancing, boating, racing are still being pursued by the people of the day. Bangles or earrings are still the same structure. So these are in social sphere, we do have a common feature. And then in the economic sphere, they are said to be the pioneers in international trade. A lot of seals show that the practice of shipbuilding has existed during that point of time. Tradition of tilling the soil and irrigation has been followed even till today. And the became basic unit of measurement which was present during the IVC time, it became the basic unit of Indian rupee also, because this 16 annas, it is present in the Indian culture. Similarly, you have 16 or the multiples of 16 being the basic source of measurement in IVC. So there is some sort of continuity, right? And then we are moving on to religious fear. So, yes, let us continue here. Legacy continuity is more profound in religion and the belief systems of India, because this is something which we have not changed at all. Like the social sphere, economic sphere have modernized. We have modernized a lot. But in religion, more or less, we are sticking to the same thing. What sort of continuity? Let us try to analyze it. Concept of mother goddess has later went on to create what is known as Bhaktism or the Shakti cult. The Shakti cult, the worship of the feminine form of divinity, has got its origin from the IVC. So there is one similarity that we see, yes. And the next thing, bull worship is identified to be synonymous with Nandi of Hinduism, of contemporary Hinduism, and Pashupati is worshipped as Shiva, and decorating animals, worshipping those animals, worshipping stones, worshipping trees, your peepal tree, for example. So these are still a very living practice. We worship many of the gods in the form of stone sculptures. We still do have many of the Naga worship, yakshas. So these are some things probably which had some similarity with your IVC. So there is one continuing thread. The points given here are very less in number. You can expand it even further. Like people believed in afterlife. That is one another superstition that we are still believing, right? Afterlife. And there was a tendency that they believed in ghost, supernaturals. That is also being practiced. And they wore amulets to ward off evil spirits. That also we do till the day. We wear certain threads, we wear certain sacred threads, sacred metallic objects to ward off evil spirits. So that is also being practiced. So this religion, in terms of the afterlife, in terms of the belief in evil spirits or belief in ghost, in the wearing of amulets, there is so much of similarity. Let's move forward. Yes, we are moving to another topic, which is IVC sites and their significance. So why should we learn it? Because there have been questions with regard to some of the important IVC sites. So let us quickly go through them. The first site is Mohenjo-daro in Pakistan. So one of the better preserved sites, and we have very famous sites like Great Bath, Great Granary, and we also have the sculpture of bearded priest, sculpture of the dancing girl discovered from Mohenjo-daro. Harappa, yes, mother goddess figure, that's one thing. Stone symbol of lingam. Now, remember this mother goddess figure has also been found in many other places also. And sculpture of dog chasing a deer in bronze metal, and this male torso statue. Remember in the last class we talked about the sandstone statue, and these are some of the important sites. And remember, when you try to remember the site, try to also remember the present day location of it and the very important significance, like 1 or 2 points. That alone you try to remember. And then we are moving on to Lothal in Gujarat. This is said to be one of the important trading stations. It has the dockyard, my dear friends. It has the dockyard. So they use the tidal system to take advantage to move from the rivers towards the sea. And it is called as the Manchester of Indus Valley Civilization. And when you talk about Dholavira, you have to talk about the unique water harnessing system, because there you have some dams, some embankments. Irrigation has been possible for agriculture with the help of these water harnessing systems. And there was also this inscription that containing 10 large-sized symbols, which like an advertising board, that was also deciphered from Dholavira. And there was a discovery of large water reservoirs. So when you try to remember Dholavira, try to remember water harnessing system. But do not confuse the points between Dholavira and Lothal. What is present in Lothal is a dockyard. What is present in Dholavira is a water harnessing system. Even now, when you're trying to write an essay about water harnessing system, if you observe the Hindu paper, you will still see that there is a mention of Dholavira in one point or the other. Just like how they mention the traditional water harnessing systems of Nalas and so on, they try to put an example of Dholavira also in many of the contemporary news articles. And Raki Garhi, yes, that is the largest site of IVC. And when you talk about Kalibangan, you Kalibangan literally means black bangles, owing to the discovery of a number of terracotta black bangles at the site. And you also have toy carts, bones of camels, and fortified settlements, and so on. But another important thing with Kalibangan is there is an evidence of earliest evidence of plowed field has been found from Kalibangan, so that is important. And Koddichi, now you have a discovery of defensive wall, that is the crucial point with Koddichi. And Ropar, a dog is buried with human oval pit burials has been found there. Banawali in Haryana, this is the only city with radial street. And not just that, the oval shaped settlement and the radial street. These two are very important when you try to remember Panavali. And Surkotara, yes, of course, the only small evidence of horse bone was found here. And Chanhudar was famous for the bead making factory and the only city without a citadel. And then, yes, Balakot in Pakistan, it is a coastal site, Daimabad in Maharashtra, and Amri in Pakistan. Yes, that's crucial. Actual remains of a rhinoceros. So these are some of the important sites. And finally, try to remember these two sites, that is Daimabad in Maharashtra and Alamgirpur in Uttar Pradesh, because these states where it is actually present can be asked in your SSC papers or in your UPSC papers. Now, why did I mention so much about the sites is because of this particular question. It was asked in the year of 2019, which one of the following is not a Harappan site? So you need to remember most of the Harappan sites, but even then, this question is considered to be difficult actually, because Chanhudaro and Koddichi, people who have read a lot would actually know that this is a very easy thing. You can eliminate them directly because everybody knows that those are the Harappan sites, no doubt about it. But when you talk about Sohagura and Desalpur, people got confused whether it is C or is it D. So that is why we have mentioned so much about the important sites and their locations. So here the answer is Sohagura. It is actually one of the Mauryan site. gets its importance during the Mauryan period of time. The earliest known copper plate, which is known as the Sohagura copper plate, is actually a Mauryan record. It is a Mauryan record which mentioned about famine relief effort. A very feeble line has been given in one of the textbook. It's hard to remember, and the same goes with the case of Desalpur also. It's one when I searched about it, when the paper got released, when we searched about it, it was again having a very minor reference in one of the Times of India paper. So that is how UPSC twists and goes deeper into many of the subjects. Desalpur is actually a small settlement in Kutch. Remember, it is a small settlement in Kutch. And the most important point with regard to Desalpur is that there is a stone and rubble wall fortification. And probably there was a notion that it may have been used as a port in the Indus Valley civilization. And this question, what is the difference between your Harappan and Mesopotamian civilization? Take a look at the first statement. IBC being a matriarchal society, whereas Mesopotamian being a patriarchal society. So this is perfectly correct. And look at the word. The word says it seems to be. So they are not very sure of it. The word says they seem to be. So that is why we can definitely say that it is a correct statement. And both civilizations had a special place for worship, but rituals were more prominent in Mesopotamian civilization. Now, did both the civilization have a special place for worship? That's not correct, because we in Indus Valley civilization, there was not much of an importance given for temple construction. So here the first statement only is correct. So which of the above are correct? Only one seems to be the correct answer. Now here, which of the following archaeological discoveries are correct with regard to the Harappan site of Dholavira? So there is a unique water harnessing system, correct, dams and embankments, inscription containing 10 large size signs, we just now read about this particular thing, existence of dockyard. Remember, dockyard was found in Lothal and not in Dholavira. So here the correct answer is actually 1 and 2. So discovery of large water reservoirs, which is built out of stone, and there is a unique water harnessing system. We read about the inscription that contained 10 large-sized signs, which is like an advertising board, but the dockyard was found in Lothal and not in Dholavira. So with that, we are concluding the lecture for the day. So stay with us for getting to know more of art and culture lectures, and follow the EduRev Infinity platform, where we have more than 10,000 plus questions, 2,000 plus documents, and a lot of video lectures to get to know more about UPSC CSE exams. Thank you so much and have a very nice day.